Hey everyone, this week's podcast sponsored by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt is ready to put their over 30 years worth of off-road experience to work for you. From turnkey builds to rolling chassis to an awesome selection of parts, the Racing in the Dirt staff has got you covered. Brake kits, aluminum hub kits, enclosed chain drives and kits, dry shaft loops, and even DIY wheelie bar kits, all available. So let Scott, Shane, and the crew at Racing in the Dirt get you the competitive edge you need. Give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. Or find them on Facebook or even racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com and the UPS Daily.
Back with Mini Mooch and myself, we are going to talk about the upcoming race at DT's Dirt Drags, the Mud Racers Association race, where Cody and myself will be going to bring you guys awesome content this weekend from this race. The combined ET and reaction time for pro stock and open paddles, 2 classes, not just one. Like I said, we got Mini Mooch here, and Damien, what is something we're looking forward to at this race at Gore Springs? What's something me and Cody should be on the lookout for?
Records to fall. This is the Harrison Logging's home track. They just ran here a few weeks ago with the Texas Mud Outlaw Series with their truck, and they were the fastest truck on the property, but had a driveline failure that knocked them out of competition. That would eventually allow the Wine Time Jeep to take the win of that, which was open door slammer, and they were outrunning the paddle cars on cuts.
Yeah, they mean business when it comes to that open
Yes.
car. Yeah.
Open paddles, pro stock, with it being an combined reaction time in ET, you might see some names you don't see normally towards the top of the ladder. Maybe some local trucks sneak in there and get some licks in. Who knows?
Does this mean that the pro stock class is no longer single elimination?
No, the pro stock class was never elimination. That was super stock.
Super stock. Okay, sorry. I'm
Pro
confused.
stock,
Okay.
they're just
Nope. Yep.
adding your reaction time to your ET for the final combined.
I got them confused. I got them mixed up. But yeah, okay. Yep. I remember that now. And yeah, so it looks like they're Friday night, they're gonna start 5 p.m. with local racing, and then MRA, or no, excuse me, local racing starts at 6 p.m. MRA starts at 8. And then Saturday night they start the local time trials at 4:30. They're looking to start the racing at 5:30. MRA classes start at 7:30 on Saturday. And for MRA classes, Friday they have Outlaw Pro Stock, modified paddles, and the Kelly Odell open cuts. And then Saturday they have the Super Stock, which is the elimination class, and then Pro Stock, the Dan Richter open paddles class, and modified cuts. And Damien has something really cool to mention about. You were just about to say something about the local classes?
Yeah, the local classes, this track, they'll have the sensors set up for both 200 and 300 feet. The local class there runs to 300 feet. They're going to have, on Friday night, they're going to have their index classes of 4.0 and 5.0 breakout. So heads up, 4.0 index, heads up, 5.0 index. And then after the MRA runs, they're going to run their Pro ET class, which I don't know if that's Sportsman or Pro Tree, but I believe it is a staggered dialing style setup. And then on Saturday, they're running a 435 and a 460 index alongside the MRA classes as well.
What were those indexes again?
For Saturday?
Yeah.
435 and 460.
435. So they're going to run the quicker ones on Friday. That's pretty cool.
The quicker and the slower, both.
Well, they got, I forgot what the ones on Friday were. 4.0 and what
5.0.
else was it? 5.0. Okay. I love me a 5.0 index. You know that.
there's a lot of neat trucks in that area. Hopefully you'll see some of the crazier ones, but them not running their heads up classes, I don't think you're going to see some of the killer trucks from the 35s Gone Wild classes, such as the Turbo Big Block Ford or the guy that runs the small block with God knows how much nitrous in it.
Yeah,
but those guys also might enter who knows, they might enter Outlaw Pro Stock just to get some test licks in for their next race where they run 35s Gone Wild.
Well, maybe. Yeah, I wonder what that Pro ET class is. They're gonna run it after the MRA, it looks like.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks to be a good weekend of racing.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to go collect some dirt from the track and add it to my collection, you know?
And keep an eye out. Who knows? Someone might sneak off with a record we have.
Maybe. These are what is it, sport mod records they're chasing, if that?
I would say most of them would be running after sport mod. I don't know how many trucks down there are capable of taking one of the records, but you never know, especially new tracks for us that none of the WSDN crew has been to.
Well, me and Cody are going to this one. I'm excited for it. My second MRA race.
Some nasty machinery that shows up to them races, ain't there?
Well, they're huge. The engine, I never seen engine combinations like this in one property. As I said, after the Nebraska race, I said I'd never seen so many 900 cubic inch engines. 900 cubic inch engines on one property in my life. And there's so many of them. And this race at Gore Springs, Mississippi, DT's Dirt Drags, is going to be badass this Friday and Saturday. If you're listening to this, me and Cody are probably driving there right now. And I'm excited. $250 per class for fastest combined ET. So there's always money to be had. And I actually just found out that they pay back like 5 or 6 spots in each class, which is crazy because not a lot of people do that. So,
well, that's a big thing. The big thing with MRA is a lot of these tracks actually are putting up money to draw them to their venues. That tells you how big a draw the MRA is to some places.
Yeah. And they're going to bring a show. I know DT Dirt Drags doesn't always, struggle with putting on a show, but this weekend's going to be special. It's going to be badass, and I can't wait to be there. Cody's excited as well, and we'll be looking to bring you guys some awesome content from this race. It's going to be fun. Once again, Mini Moocher and myself, and Damien's going to, I'm just going to kind of listen to Damien talk about the upcoming event next weekend. That's very, very big for ILK four-wheelers in Cleves, Ohio, is Gravelrama. And, a lot of people look forward to that event, and some controversy about moving the date and whatnot, but we'll get into that later. Damien, what do we got to look forward to this year coming up at Gravelrama? And for those who don't know, can you kind of explain what it is and how long it is and what it entails, I guess. So, yeah, we're just going to listen to Damien talk about Gravelrama for a little bit.
Gravelrama, this will be Gravelrama 53, should be 54, but COVID.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gravelrama has been quote unquote America's four-wheel drive happening for the better part of 50 years. It started really quick. It's been strong. It's been strong enough where Bigfoot has been the Grand Marshal back in the 80s and 90s. This event is huge for this area. It used to be huge nationwide. Used to have cars coming all the way from the west coast of Canada that would come out here just to run this event. So Thursday, or it really starts Wednesday. Move-in is Sunday of this weekend, but the event really kicks off on Wednesday, but Tuesday they do have a trail ride. Wednesday is the parade through Cleves, Ohio, as well as the party with a live band, horseshoe tournament. I don't know if it's not on the flyer, but usually they had a volleyball tournament as well. Then Thursday we go into bracket racing as well as a quick 16, I believe. Let me double check the flyer here. Got it pulled up. Yeah, Thursday bracket race. They do not have it stated about a quick 16 right off the top, but they usually have a quick 16 style class on Thursday night just to give the faster guys something to run for where they ain't got to sit for an hour and a half waiting on a stock truck. Friday night starts the class racing. Hill drags, 100-foot side-by-side up the hill. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't done it, it is a blast to do. They'll run all of their competitive classes on this event, everything from unlimited to flathead 4-cylinder Jeeps that are basically the stock engine with a stick shift still with paddles.
And you alluded to it,
Pick it up.
it's a racer's favorite, man. Right? Like I said,
yeah.
I always hear about how the racers always boast about the uphill drags more than anything.
The hill drags, it is a different kind of rush. Yeah, we only run 100-foot, but you start flat, you go into the incline, and you have to, in some cases, like our Jeep, when we run nitrous on that hill, it'll try and pick the front end up to where I'll cross the stripe with the rear tires and lose because my rear end's behind the other guy's front tires who's a tenth slower than I am. But that's just the name of the game. And Gravel 50, we've had some excitement over the years. That hill, it's short shutdown, but it's something different. And you'll see everyone from top alcohol cars down to stock cars running that hill. Then Saturday, we go on to the same. They've got the women's class bracket race as well as the open eliminations for all the classes. And it's round robin. Each round, they'll run each class one round at a time. Whereas on the hill drags Friday night, they run a class almost all the way through before they move on to the next class. But for the flat drags, you'll see it anything from a top alcohol dragster down to a stock Jeep CJ or Willie's flat fender with a flathead 4-cylinder with street tires on, and everything in between.
Or whatever the hell those I-class cars are. Like those things are, what are those guys' names? Sean and Bob?
Ruther? No, not Ruther. Ford. Yeah. Unfortunately, Bob Ford has passed away.
Oh, shout out to Bob.
Sean still races his dad. I believe it's Sean is the son, but he still races the old Fuzznut. What a name!
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
and
name.
He will also run that in the obstacle course on Monday, and is perennially a contender for fastest overall time on the obstacle course. That's sweet. Oh yeah, obviously a vehicle designed more for that than it is for drag strip. But then at the end of the night, every class winner from Saturday has the opportunity to enter the Bob Black Memorial or Bob Black Eliminator bracket race. So everyone who wins the class on Saturday, your runs from Saturday are your time trial passes. And you dial in and you try and run your dial in. And there's I don't know the exact cash prize for that this year, but there is cash up for grabs if you make it into the Bob Black Eliminator bracket race.
I think it was $1,000 when I came to 49.
It might have been. I just can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
Then you go on to Sunday, which is, I know some people, especially on our live streams, say it's boring to watch, but in person, it's something else. The big Eliminator hill climb. 170 foot tall, 70-degree incline, and we're staging on the side of the thing before we take off.
And if you think it's boring for we don't get as many people who watch the pod as we do live streams, but if you think the big hill at gravel is boring, shut the fuck up, because that thing is badass to watch. And from my perspective, from Gravelrama 50, like watching every pass from the top of the hill, from almost dying, from almost that one dude almost running over me, that was crazy but awesome at the same time. But no, if you think the big hill is boring, shut the fuck up, because that thing is awesome.
It is a wild time. I haven't ran it since Gravel 50. I personally probably won't run it because I ain't got the budget to fix the stuff that hill can fuck up. To be honest with you, but it's something you have to attempt once if your car is capable of it. I've been over the hill myself 4 times. The first year I ran it, I placed third. It is a rush because you pull down into the bowl to go up the hill to stage, and you just look up, and all you see is a wall of pea gravel, thinking, the hell am I doing this for? And then if you get stuck before you get to the top, you got to back all the way back down it.
I remember when I was at Gravelrama one time, and I was on top of the big Eliminator Hill, and Dustin Smith in the big banana from Indiana drove up, and he almost cleared the hill, but he got stuck. And just that video I took in that moment was so awesome. He was shaking, he was so excited, and it was an awesome perspective. And I really wish he would have made it, to be honest. I really do.
Oh yeah, definitely a neat, especially when guys try the dragsters on that. Because you have to get so much speed to get the front end over enough to where it pulls the rear tires over.
Yes, and that's the exciting part, because you'll see people like floor it, and then like some people will just like lit off, and then
Try not to jump it.
right, some of the slower ones will just like keep going no matter what. It's kind of cool, and it is exciting as you get to the slower classes. They get that running head start, and then that one green one at Gravelrama 50 that almost like ran off
over
the
a bunch
side.
of people. Because
Yeah,
the one thing about the big hill is we have to have people working the side of the hill to ensure that the track will be safe for the following runs. Because if you don't fill those holes in, then it just becomes a mess. It's
for
not as
sure.
bad as it used to be, because when I was a little kid, Gravelrama was still set up to where every round you would start at the base of the hill and move 10 feet further up the hill each round. More than one person made it over the top. Till they were starting, they would have to drive all the way up the hill and stage 10 feet from the top and take off.
That'd be awesome.
Unfortunately,
awesome.
with time constraints, and if we could get more volunteers to work the hillside to fill the holes in, they would probably consider doing it again. But that's the big thing, is time and bodies. So if anyone's willing to work that stuff, you can get a hold of IOK Four-Wheelers through the Gravelrama Facebook page, and they probably wouldn't turn you down.
Why don't the club members do it?
A lot of club members won't volunteer to do it. Usually it's kids around 12 to 15, that sometimes into the late teens, that volunteer to do it. But just a lot of club members don't volunteer to help out at the races anymore.
Well,
yeah, it's like me. I'm going to be teching in vehicles Friday, unless I have to be elbow deep in the Jeep again, changing parts like I was last year on Friday.
Well, hopefully you can just tech vehicles and nothing else. And
right.
if you're a club member, get out there and help, man.
If
you're a club member, get out there and help, man. I don't know. Unless tell me you're too old, then I get it.
Yeah, working that hillside can be
it definitely looks like you gotta get some energy
cardio
up there to do that. I remember the first time I went to gravel, I tried running up the hill, and I got like 3/4 away, and I gave up. And I was just
run up it. How in the hell did you get up there without using your hands?
That's true. Once I started using my hands, I was like, okay, I think I'm good. But no, Gravelrama 53, August 20th through the 26th. Wednesday parade, Thursday bracket race, Friday uphill drags, Saturday they go back to the flat drags class racing. Sunday they got the big eliminated hill. Monday they got the obstacle course, and this is basically a week from now. So
like I said, move in for campers for roping off camp spots is this Sunday. So a lot of people get there this Sunday and will stay through till next Monday for Gravelrama.
They'll stay there a whole week or even longer, and excited to see what comes and goes from that. And not a whole bunch of us going. Damien will be the only one there, but he'll be busy at the same time, so no worries there. But we will
I'll get what I can picture wise, live streams, videos. I'll see what I can pull off, but being there on my own, it's a hectic one, especially as hot as it usually is.
Absolutely. Well, he will do his best, and we will appreciate anything he can get. So Gravelrama 53 next week, and who knows? Next week we may have somebody special on to talk about it some more. We don't have anybody lined up. So if you'd like to come on and talk about Gravelrama 53 for next week's episode, let us know. We'll get in touch.
Yeah, get a hold of us.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that was Gravelrama 53. We'll talk more about it next week.
Hey everyone, this week's podcast sponsored by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt is ready to put their over 30 years worth of off-road experience to work for you. From turnkey builds to rolling chassis to an awesome selection of parts, the Racing in the Dirt staff has got you covered. Brake kits, aluminum hub kits, enclosed chain drives and kits, dry shaft loops, and even DIY wheelie bar kits, all available. So let Scott, Shane, and the crew at Racing in the Dirt get you the competitive edge you need. Give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. Or find them on Facebook or even racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com and the UPS Daily.
Hey there. Welcome back with Damian Bowers and myself, and we're going to talk about Franklin County Four-Wheelers' latest race this past weekend. They had a bracket race, a points race at that. I'll just pass it to Damian. How'd it go and who won?
Overall, the race went great. We had a bit of an incident early on in time trial, fairly early on in time trials. Curtis Combs made some test passes in his Jeep, getting ready for Gravelrama, getting ready for the Outlaws race here in September. Okay. And he ran it just a hair long, got squirrely in the shutdown. The chute was damaged up in Michigan, so he didn't have his chute. Had to hit the throttle in the shutdown to get the car straight and went through the fence at the end of the track.
Ooh.
Thankfully, minor damage, body damage, tore up the left side header and tore one fuel line off of the barrel valve. So it just broke the AN fitting, so all that's salvageable, and then the air filter frame. So nothing that's gonna.
Go ahead, sorry.
So nothing too extremely damaged on that.
I was wondering why Carson posted about wanting to get new. Well, actually, I seen the dent. I seen the picture, and then yeah. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. He was all right though. He got out.
Oh yeah, okay. No injuries.
Okay,
car's just fine. Like I said, if they get a header, they'll probably have that thing at gravel with or without the hood.
With or without it. Cool. Well, glad he's okay. And glad the race went well. You guys you did your slow class, fast class stuff?
Right. They had the split. That ended up being a 448 and slower, 447 and faster. Ooh. I ended up going out second round. Jeep fuel pressure jumped up out of the blue on us.
Well, we can't go on each episode without an update of the Jeep. We just can't.
Oh, it's still giving us fits, but it did its job. It's just fuel pressure regulator just decided, oh, hey, you're not going to have 6 pounds of fuel. You're going to have 10 pounds of fuel. And it flooded the motor out and just started missing on the trans brake and ran 2/10 slow.
Yeah, that calls for a second round exit. How many were in each class?
Should be about 41 in each class, as we had 82 cars, the biggest car count we've had so far this year.
Whoa! So hold on, wait. So you have 41 cars that were 447 and faster?
Oh yeah,
that's fine. That's
hell.
insane.
A few years ago at a race at Cleves, they had the 450 and faster index, and then they had a fast and slow bracket where the brake was a 435.
Wow, that's fast.
So the brake for the bracket class was faster than the cutoff for the 450 class.
What was the fastest car at this past weekend? Was it Curtis? Well, he didn't race. So what was the fastest car that actually raced?
Curtis made the fastest pass. He ran a 312, I believe, 112, somewhere in that range.
Fastest car in competition for the fast class. Who was it?
Brent Shelton.
Okay.
He ended up running a 321 at 108.5, which Unfortunately, he did not have a backup for the day, and they did not run an attempt for the backup after the race was over. But he is gunning right now for the mile per hour record for B dragster.
Well, he's really good at breaking the record, just not really good at backing it up, I guess.
Just has not gotten close enough to back it up yet. Out of 3 races they've been out, they've been close twice. But the kids, they also had 32 kids in between the Pee Wees and the juniors class. Pee Wees class, Braxton,
There's 32 in both total, like 32 total.
No, 32 total. But
okay.
Still, that's a pretty good car count for kids classes.
Hell yeah.
Pee Wees, Braxton Sackstetter over Liam Sackstetter.
Oh, the brother.
Yeah, the brother's going at it.
That's awesome.
And then juniors, Audrey Clem over Blaine Mullins. So Blaine he's wanting it. He's coming next year for the adults classes.
Shout out to Blaine. One of the best mini bike jockeys in the planet right there.
Slow class, Butch Krager in old Marooney, his old maroon Ford stepside with a big block Ford in it, running in the high 440 range. Takes the victory over Dalton Sampson. Trent Sampson's brother. Trent has that white and black Chevy. At the end of last year, they debuted Dalton's new Chevy, a pretty gold short bed, running about 480s. And in fast class, Michael Robbins over Chris Ferry.
Well, I picked Michael Robbins to win the big one, and then a month later he actually won. So shout out to Michael Robbins.
Chris Ferry's right now probably towards the top of the points pile right now. Best reaction, Carson Combs, 3rd race out. They've had the dragster, I believe, 3rd or 4th. 000 with 2. So 2,200 thousandths of a second reaction.
And I would just call it the perfect light. That's so weird that it goes down that far. I just call it the perfect light.
The few races ago, they had at the big money race, they had a bounty for the first person. If anyone got it at that race, it was $500 to a perfect reaction to the 5th digit.
Ooh.
And then on top of that, it goes out there for tiebreakers. Because there have been a lot of races lately where there have been multiple perfect lights in a night.
Wow.
And then closest dial, Keith Bourne with a 379 with a 0 on a 379 dial. A former sport modified 4-wheel drive record holder. Slowly getting back closer to trying to get it back from Wayne.
Well, keep chipping away at it. Well, it sounds like a good time at Franklin County Four-Wheelers. Another points race. When are they racing again?
I believe the next race is the weekend after Gravelrama is their slow class nationals. Friday night, they will be running the track packed in. 5.0 minimum dial. So you cannot dial any faster than a 5 flat.
That sounds awesome.
It's a good time, especially for the big heavy trucks.
Do they let mini bikes run it?
No, it's got to be cars. Cars and UTVs.
You ain't gonna get no mini bikes if you can't do. No, I'm just kidding. Well, cool. Franklin County Four-Wheelers next race the weekend after Gravelrama, which is August. What is that? 31st? Is that right?
I believe so.
Yep. All right. Well, that was the results from Franklin County Four-Wheelers' latest points race. Hey, it's just me by myself here, and we're going to talk about, well, not really talk about, we're going to go over the winners from Thunder Valley Sand Drags and Atoka Motorsports Park's latest points race this past weekend that happened on August 10th. So we'll start with Thunder Valley Sand Drags, which I was at and help operating. So let's go over the results here. Pee Wees, first place, Riker Ballard. Second place, Serena Johnson. Juniors, first place, Micah Guthrie. Second place, Cody Cook. Shout out to his shirt that he was wearing. First place, Sport ATV. Gotta give a shout out to first place, Ross Kratz. We kind of grew up as kids racing here, and he went rounds and got it done. I was surprised to see him get it done on the quad he was using because it was like a stock Honda. Well, not really stock, but it was a Honda 450. I don't know. I'm terrible with that stuff, but it's a Honda 450. I'm pretty sure. But Seth Curtis got second place. Seth Curtis always going rounds, and then Miss Ava Windsor always putting up a good fight. She got third, and then Pro 2 ATV, which is our 5 seconds and slower bracket class for just ATVs. Tori Pitts getting it done again. Defeats Craig McNeil. Craig usually a killer in the Pro 2 class, but Tori coming out of nowhere lately and getting it done. Pro 1 ATV, which is $4.99 and faster. First place going to Josh Hibden, and the second place going to Josh Cook Sr. Josh Hibden and on that 3-cylinder Banshee build, getting it done. Josh Cook Sr. on all reliable. I like to call it that. And buckling that chin strap out of his helmet. I appreciate you, Mr. Cook. But yeah, Josh Hibden, 240-pound running about 370s. It's pretty good. Side-by-side class. Jamie Windsor, first place, getting the win over Tori Pitts. Jamie's a killer, and no matter what he's driving, to be honest, he could be racing Ava's bike or his dirt bike or the side by side, the Ranger, I believe. And yeah, he gets it done no matter what. Sport comp. We only had 2 in sport comp, so we did best 2 out of 3 with these guys. And Calvin Bird going 2-0, getting the win over Jared East. Calvin Bird, something pretty cool about his car. I believe he was driving the old Shirley Muldowney chassis car that John Moreland used to race in Top Eliminator about 15, maybe more years ago. Jared East and the infamous Danger Zone car that Terry Glasscock owns. And then in Pro Comp, getting the win. First place, Hunter Shelton running his awesome big block Chevy powered dragster without nitrous this time, running steadily 330 range all day. He defeats Ray Connor, and Ray Connor, first time racer, I believe, something like that. It's his second race this year at our track, but he was driving a orange Yamaha YXZ, getting it done, getting his second place in Pro Comp. And that was Thunder Valley Sand Drags results. That was only our second points race of the season. We race again August 24th in 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks from this past Saturday. Be just over a week away by the time you guys listen to this. And looking forward to that. It's going to be a great time as well. Yeah. And no matter what kind of silly issues come about, we'll just persevere and have a great time. Be fun for everybody. Real quick point standings for Thunder Valley Sand Drags. Pee Wee's Riker Ballard with a pretty much commanding lead so far, 52 points. Serena and her brother Gabe Johnson tied at second with 35. And then juniors, Chase McLaughlin, he's holding down first place right now. He got third in juniors, I believe. And then Chase with 44 points. Cole Ballard right behind him with 37 points. Micah Guthrie, who got first place, jumping up. He has 28. Raylan Blake and Cody Gentry tied at fourth place with 26 points. And then Adrian Blake at fifth and Cody Cook in sixth. Pro Comp, only 2 signed up in points. Craig McNeil with a 4-point lead over Mike Craball. Pro 1 ATV, after Josh Hibden gets a win, he gets a 9-point lead over Craig McNeil. And Ava Windsor sitting in third. Michael Parker and Parker Whittle tied at fourth place. Pro 2 ATV, Tori Pitts with a 10-point lead over Craig McNeil, who's in second. Riker Ballard in third with 28. Sean Johnson in fourth with 26 points. All right, moving on to Atoka Motorsports Park here. Results from the Saturday, August 10th, 2024 race. First place in Pee Wee's, Timber Short. She got the win over Grant Rainey in the Pee Wee's class. Shout out to the kiddos. And then the juniors class, this is one of the more competitive fields for juniors in the country here. First place in the money class for Juniors, Emily Matthews getting the win over Forrest Williams. Shout Forrest. shout Emily too, but Forrest and my son Kate were having a ball together at the Memorial Day race, so I just had to give a shout out to Forrest for that. But Emily's a killer. Um, and then the trophy class, first place Gregory Wyatt. I gotta give a shout out to Gregory because he's an outstanding young man. He's really, really good kid, and his parents do a great job with him. And then second place in the juniors trophy race was Kason Scholl. Kason Scholl getting second. Pro 3 quads, first place in the money race was Gage Fuhrhelm getting the win over his sister Laura. Oh God, I bet they had some words for each other after that one. Maybe even before too. That looked like a good one. And then in the trophy class for the Pro 3 quads, Gage Fuhrhelm getting the win again, except now he got the win over Roy Cooper. And I should mention they actually start with the trophy race and end with the money. So I'll start naming the trophy winners first and then go on to the money. And then now Pro 2 cars. Excuse me, Pro 3 quads once again. 6 flat and slower. 6 flat and slower. Pro 3 quads, that's what that is, 6 flat and slower. Pro 2 cars is 450 and slower, 4.50 seconds and slower. In the trophy class, Audra Matthews getting it done. She defeats Tessa Owens. So it looks like a battle of the ladies right there in the trophy race. And then Pro 2 cars money class, Jessica Powell getting the win over Terry Parker. Jessica Powell. So it looks like the ladies were dominating Pro 2 cars there at Atoka this past Saturday. Pro 2 quads, which is 5.0 to 5.99. And your first place in the trophy class was Roy Cooper. Roy Cooper beating Cheyenne Williams in the trophy race for Pro 2 quads. And then Pro 2 quads money round, Greg Wyatt getting it done. Gregory's dad. Greg Wyatt getting it done, getting first place in the money round. He defeats Axel Smithhart. And Pro 2 quads is filled with some young racers who are some killers at that. Pro 1 quads. In the trophy race, we had Roy Cooper getting it done again. He defeated Rick Bottrell. But the points come from the money round, and you don't win money in the trophy race. And first place in the money for Pro 1 quads was Gavin Briggs. We seen him compete really well at the Memorial Day race last time I seen him. He got an awesome turbo chassis build, so shout out to Gavin. And then second place was Bryce Williams. Shout out to Bryce on the Keith Ahart bike. That's what I call it. But yeah, shout out to Gavin, shout out to Bryce, and Pro 1 quads money round. Pro 1 cars trophy race. First place, Amanda Matthews, a name we know really well. She defeats Wyatt Rainey. Looks like Wyatt stepped up to Pro 1 from Pro 2 from last time I seen him. And then Pro 1 cars, first place, Tyler Smithson. Tyler Smithson. I believe this is only his second race in this Jeep, and he's a younger cat. He's winning the money round at Atoka in Pro 1 cars. Kid's a killer. Not to mention that he defeated Randy Kimbley in the finals, and Randy Kimbley actually messaged me and said that he's driving his new blown alcohol buggy, which he says is doing very great. And I can't remember what he said because he showed me the time slip. He had 2 passes in a row where he had 001 reaction times in that car. And that thing is sick. And right here, 001, one right after the other. One passed 334 with a 5. The other passed 333 with a 7. 101 miles an hour on both of those tickets. And the car is sick. If you're from the West Coast, you probably know what it looks like. But yeah. And those are your winners from those are your winners from Atoka Motorsports Park latest points race on August 10th. We go and look at the points. Right now in Pro 1 cars, JT Holstein with a 10-point lead over Brad Civils and John Acker, who are both tied for second. John Pate at 4th with 105 points, and Jim Fletcher at 5th with 100 points. Pro 1 quads is still Bryce Williams' game almost. He's got a 20-point lead over Greg Wyatt and Randy Kimbley, who are both tied in second. Dylan Civils at 4th place. Roy Cooper in 5th. Pro 2 cars, Audra Matthews sitting with the 20-point lead above Jessica Powell, and Luke Heisey, who are both tied for second. A lot of tied for second here. And then William Rainey sitting in fourth place. And then Aiden Owens kind of far back from the pack there. He's sitting at fifth. Pro 2 quads, Axel Smithhart with a 15-point lead over Roy Cooper and Stephanie Smithhart, who are once again another class with two people tied in second place. And then two people tied in fourth place right behind him, Cameron Pate and Jace Cassins, who are 20 points behind Axel. Pro 3 quads, Alexis Hoke and Gage Fieldhelm tied for the number one spot in Pro 3 quads points. Anita Zerline, 25 points back. And then you have Laura Fieldhelm and Madison Rainey holding down fourth and fifth place spots as well. In the juniors class, Kaysen Scholl with a 5-point lead over Emily Matthews. Bodie Smithhart just 15 points behind Kaysen. Forrest Williams and Carly Frazier both sitting in the fourth place spot, and they are 25 points behind Kaysen Scholl. In the Pee Wee's class, Dalton Thomas with a 10-point lead over Swayze Stevens. Blake Hall in third, Great Randy in fourth, Charlie Holstein in fifth. So those are your points and results from not just Atoka Motorsports Park, but also Thunder Valley Sand Drags in Grand Valley, Missouri.
Hey everyone, this week's podcast sponsored by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt is ready to put their over 30 years worth of off-road experience to work for you. From turnkey builds to rolling chassis to an awesome selection of parts, the Racing in the Dirt staff has got you covered. Brake kits, aluminum hub kits, enclosed chain drives and kits, dry shaft loops, and even DIY wheelie bar kits, all available. So let Scott, Shane, and the crew at Racing in the Dirt get you the competitive edge you need. Give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. Or find them on Facebook or even racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com. And the UPS Daily.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, back with one of our favorite reoccurring guests. We got Brad Christopherson here. He's going to be going over some of the results from the Pacific Northwest Shootout with us. So, Brad, you were there. Tell us a little bit before we get in those results, just kind of the general vibes of the event. Longer event for you guys up there in Albany, Oregon. Bike-only event. What were the vibes?
Yeah, this is our once a year bike only event. Our typical weekends are mixed with cars and trucks and Jeeps and all that. They have their own classes, sport classes, and the bikes and their sport and pro classes as well. So this is the Pacific Northwest Shootout. It's been ongoing. History of it runs way back to some other names of it. Keith Mattoon put on a big 3-day race, I believe, even back in the late 2000s. We didn't have it for a while, as the turnouts were real low there for quite a few times through the, recession, 08 to 10, 12, somewhere in there. And it kind of came back around again. We had some grudge events that Cam McAllister kind of put on. And then he actually started in, and Chris, his last name, Arnett, started the Pacific Northwest Shootout again. Cam put on a big race. Trying to recall the name of it at the time. And then Chris took it over. Matt McCormick took it over. And it's now continued on with Doug Wells and his family putting on the event as well. So it's our only 3-day event, all bikes, no cars, no Jeeps. Vibe, it was hot. Man, last podcast we were talking about that, coming up to the Pacific North Shootout, and it was a week and a half prior. Temps were down in the mid-high 70s and low 80s. And of course, this day, Thursday was the hottest day. It was high 90s. Friday was still low 90s, and it was 85 or so on Saturday. So that did help out a little bit there. But it is what it is. That's Oregon for you.
Yeah, it sounds like we jinxed it, and we talked about it the summertime out there, and this being a little bit later than it typically is. So, at least you guys are still out there to be able to race. It didn't get too hot where you couldn't do that, at least.
No, I try to help out a little bit, bring a couple canopies, use some misters, so at least down by staging lane, so at least you can get under there for a little bit while people are managing their bikes and jockeys and whatnot and trying to race and cool off a little bit. So that helps a little bit. We do what we can.
Definitely. Yeah, the Mr. setup a couple years I went, that was definitely clutch. So I'm glad you're continuing to do that.
Spot. Yeah. So we had a lower turnout this year than we have had in the past. Multitude of reasons I would presume. We had a handful come up from California again still, which is great. It's a long travel for them. A lot of locals area, we're heavy on the dunes here, and that's where all our drag racers came from. So from Portland and Washington down to, Eugene, Roseburg area and over to the coast where we pretty much pull our racers from.
For sure. Yeah, and like you said, a lot of things going on. Dune Fest was going on at the same time, so just lots of different distractions. It being later in the year than it typically is, not a ton of promotion. I kind of got the vibes that people weren't necessarily happy with the dates that the race kind of had to fall on, and but glad you guys were able to make the most of it. How were all the you mentioned that you guys were going to do kind of like a potluck style barbecue, volleyball tournament, cornhole. Did you guys get to do any of that?
Yes, we did. We had everybody rock kind of like a potluck dinner. We'd flip some burgers and dogs on, I think it was Friday evening there. That was great. Everybody came down. We just kind of shut the track down for an hour or two and just had a big meal together. That was really nice. I live so close. When we're done racing, I usually dip out pretty quick. So I'm not sure if the volleyball thing happened or not, or cornhole or whatever they were happening. I imagine there's plenty of track shenanigans going on, though.
Of course. There has to be, right?
Absolutely. I would expect nothing less.
Let's go ahead and get into some of those results. So kicking off this Thursday, you guys ran the index classes as well as some pro bracket classes. So why don't you tell us about let's get into the 360 index there. So who ended up taking first there for the 360 index?
So that was our quickest index class. We ran 360 to 379. Eric Wells took the number one spot on that on his Redline Racing built 525. And he's got that in a, oh my gosh.
Turbo chassis?
Yeah, thank you. I get blank all of a sudden there. And then Cameron Spittle took second in that. He's got a really clean Raptor. It's a Cuervo builder. He worked on that for years. Coming up while he was riding Summerlin, the wheels off all Summerlin's bikes for a while. But that thing scoots. He made a lot of good passes. Really consistent. He's a good racer. He's really coming along.
Well, speaking of the Summerlins, the 380 to 399 index, we saw Courtney at Summerlin taking the first place there over Cooper Alexander. So lots of kind of the crowd favorites there, I'd say, in the Oregon area.
Definitely. Courtney was running really hard all week. Another Cuervo build out of the Summerlin camp. Really clean bike as well. Cooper, obviously, he's a tough guy out there. He's beating up our points in one of the classes on a regular weekend. He'll pop up here a couple times, I think.
Absolutely. Then kicking it down, skip down a little bit more in the indexes. So we're at the 450 to 479. And another Summerlin, the top of the charts there, Callista this time, taking the win over Dennis Williams on his Banshee.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, Callista's bike is a 450 based bike. I believe she ran her personal best this weekend as well. I couldn't tell you, but she's super consistent too. She is tough to beat on the track. Dennis out of California, he came up with Mike and Bert. I believe they all carpooled together, so it was great to see them again. Dennis is a tough cookie out there too.
Yes, sir.
Really clean Banshee. I like that one.
Yeah, no, definitely a pretty bike for sure. And full plastics and everything too, so.
Like classic Yamaha Banshee too, so it's just a nice looking bike to put eyes on.
Mm-hmm. Moving over to the pro classes. So Pro 1, you guys ran this, I believe it's the same as what Albany typically does for the brakes, right? $3.99 a quicker is for Pro 1?
Yep, that's correct.
So Pro won 399 and quicker bracket racing this time, so no longer in those indexes. First place, another California native, Tessa Nunez, on her 425 bike, taking the win again over Cooper Alexander. So seeing Cooper kind of in the mix here quite a bit.
Yeah, again, he's right there. He's always competing.
And then why don't you give us the loadout on Pro 2 there?
On Pro 2, first was Eric Wells, and then second was, again, Callista Summerlin. Always cooking it there.
What was Eric riding for Pro 2 there?
Kind of wondering that myself.
It might, well, because he doesn't have his slower bike anymore. Unless, oh no, he might have been running Douglas's bike.
It was either that one. He also ran a No Bar 425 as well, which I think is Doug Gunderson's bike. It's either Doug, one of the two. And he was right there at that break of it. I know he ran into the 90s with it as well, at least that quick. But that was the first day out. It may have been that bike.
Gotcha. Still kind of tuning on it. So that was kind of the picture there for Thursday. Friday, moving into, you guys started off with the weight class there. And Eric taking first place again. I believe that was on that no bar bike. Is that right?
It was. So it was actually, it was pretty interesting. We had 4 entries. We had a fifth there. He wasn't able to run the class. So we weighed all the bikes. They got 2 qualifying passes. And I actually take them, and rank them first through fourth. And the split on that was really close. It was the quickest bike ran a 4:02.5, and the slower of the 4 was a 4:13. So just about a 0.13.
Hey, that's a toss up on the tree right there. And I mean, those, obviously we're seeing quicker and quicker times in that class, but this is also very suboptimal conditions with how hot and I'm sure humid it was there.
Yeah, it was. And so our 4 entries, the number 1 qualifier was Bob Yutzi, or Yutzi, excuse me. The number 2 qualifier was Dennis Williams, and number 3 was Eric Wells, and 4 was Douglas Wells.
Well, there, and then hey, we got number 3 and 4 there. Eric and Douglas taking first and second there in the weight class. So obviously, like you said, those ET splits there, enough of that is close enough that it's a toss up.
It really is. It was up for grabs, and it was kind of cool to see a 3-4 seed go in there and go to the finals, and then of course the 2 brothers, Eric and Douglas, battle it out, with Eric eventually that win for the number 1 spot there.
Very cool. And then getting into the twin limited classes. So kicking off the 0 to 425 cc twin cylinder, basically all Banshee based for the majority of these classes. Tessa Nunez out of California getting the win over Aaron Yutzi there in the 425 class. Tessa, they've been making gains on that bike. What do you know what kind of times they were running in the heat?
I think they were in a pretty consistent 470s. I know they got into the 60s at one point. I don't know the specific ET on it, but I think they were hoping to go
in the threes. You mean?
Yeah, 360.
We'd have an issue if a 425 was running 460s.
Yeah, absolutely.
So congrats to Tessa there, making the trip worth it there. 525, we see Eric Wells again in that 525 Redline built Banshee. And second, your boy Carter getting up there in the mix.
Yeah, we fought that thing for the first couple days and kind of got it to come around a little bit, and we're able to go a few rounds, and he was able to get second in the 0 to 525.
That's awesome. Congrats to Carter.
Yeah, he did well. He did his part. I wasn't doing my part here for the first. Finally got him something to go down the track, and he did his job. It was pretty good.
Awesome. And then we were getting into some of the big boy bikes here. So we got the 0 to 775 cc class. First place, Ron Alexander. Ron, was that on a twin or was he on a triple for that? Or no, this is all twins, right?
Yep, that was all twins. That was in his personal bike. It's a 24 mil DM, Redline Racing, and a turbo chassis as well. That was chassis that Orlando used to have his Cougar in.
Oh,
He's
okay.
made some Orlando. He sold that chassis. Ron's got it now, and he got that bike to come around as well. I think he got into the 340s on it this weekend, which is some pretty good steps forward for him.
Oh yeah,
He was
definitely.
well and kind of got that straightened out. And then of course Tessa, she's a real consistent racer, and that's a
Yeah.
pretty bike. Goes down the track like an arrow every time. She
And that
took
was
second.
on her 425 bike, so she was definitely fighting a couple weight classes above where she typically rides there.
Yeah, that is a lightweight stepping into more of a heavyweight scenario there for sure.
Oh, very cool for her to make some rounds there, get second place, 775. And then of course we had the 775 plus class. So this is the big motors, okay? Now again, it can go up to 775 plus, but this is still open. So we see Eric Wells. I'm assuming that was on his 525 bike.
I'm trying to recall if that was the case or if he was on the twin of Doug Gunderson's. I can't
Okay.
now the memory banks.
But
But Eric,
regardless, yeah, Eric, he can ride the wheels off of anything. So
yeah, he sure does, and he runs hard on his 525 as well. It's not uncommon for him to jump in upper CC classes
for sure.
and compare.
And then second place there in the 775 plus going to Bob Gutze.
That's right, and he's got a big boy bike, big twin scimitar, I believe.
A
He's
scimitar thing.
he's had that for years, and he's made some great strides forward here just this year and making some solid A to B passes on it. I expect it to go much faster than it has.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and for the folks at home, those scimitars, they can be upwards of 1,000 cc's sometimes. So like it's a big twin.
Yeah,
Definitely lots of room there to make some improvements on.
they sure are. They're a whole different beast to get to run right and efficient.
Yeah.
They spawn like the smaller CC bikes do it all.
Yeah. No, that's definitely the case. So the bigger you go, the much more finicky those motors get.
And I only know that because I can only afford about half the one of those pit or sizes pit.
Hey, and there's still a pain sometimes, right? So can only
Yeah,
imagine. Let's move on to Saturday's action. The no bar class had some pretty cool stuff. I saw some stuff out there. Michael Farmer on the no bar Raptor getting he's got the quickest Raptor a no bar in the north west right now for that class. So I can't remember what the times
yeah.
was for that. Maybe do you remember off the top of your head?
Well, I sure do. I went back, had to look at the slips because they signed a couple of them for our local association for our own record keeping at Sand Drags. So that's Steve and Darcy Summerlin's bike with their, I guess it'd be their grandson, Michael Farmer, riding for them. So they reset their own no bar record. Previously, it was 369.3 at 79.2 miles per hour. So they reset it actually twice this weekend. The first time they dropped that 369 to a 368.3 with a 134 860 foot at 81.1 miles per hour. And then you reset it just a couple passes later at a 367.7 with a 133 60 foot and again at 81.1 miles per hour. So that bike was riding on rails. Michael was riding the damn wheels off that thing. He made pass after pass. Got some good conditions. Track got real tight on it, and Steve had it tuned up well and gave him the bike to do it. And Michael put it through there, and so they reset that record, dropped it, 200s there from a 369 7.
367. Hey, that's awesome to see, and I love to see some no bar Raptors. We see a lot of no bar Banshees and stuff, twin and triples, but we don't see a ton of those single cylinders on two stroke or four stroke side. So it's cool to see more of them hitting the tracks. And then
Yeah,
we got Burt Boatman taking second place in no bar. I believe that's his no bar debut.
It is, and he was riding Doug Gunderson's triple in that no bar class, and they obviously, as Bert was real new to it, took a little learning curve there. Some pretty good wheelies.
I
Doug's got
saw.
that bike set up pretty well. I believe 40s, if not 30s, in Louisiana. I couldn't tell you what their ETs were here at Albany, but it's a whole lot,
Yeah. No, well, congrats to Bert. I mean, it's definitely a different animal riding a big no bar bike like that. So congrats to him for keeping it all on the rubber side down and not looping it, because I know that's definitely something that is always kind of a concern when you're new to that stuff.
Yeah, it sure is. Track actually was in real good shape for quite a while there, especially through Saturday. As temperatures came down, it's a lot easier to maintain the moisture in the track, and it actually tightened up as the evening came in, and it had a really good opportunities to make quick passes across the board.
That's awesome. And then you guys had a Saturday sportsman class with Douglas Wells taking the win over Michael Farmer there. So was Michael still running the no bar Raptor in that class?
Yes, he was. I believe so. And Douglas is riding. He's got a kind of a stock mod Banshee that's actually his weight class bike that he was running. And he was running. I believe he ran some 4.0s, and he's always right there at mid 4.0, 4.1. I know it's been in the 90s as well, but obviously he was running real consistent, making good clean passes, and was able to take that number one.
Yeah, definitely that consistency for those bracket classes. But not so much for the quick 8. So this was the quickest 8 bikes on the property getting into that field. And Bert on the no bar getting the win over Jackie Clayson. I know we were talking last time about wanting to see a lot of those Corvo Raptors. Jackie riding one of those famous ones. So tell us about how the quick 8 went.
Pretty well. So they did. They actually get 4 qualifiers for it. So it's usually typically they base it by fastest CT gets number 1 spot versus 8, and they run them that way, line them up, and then gives a little bit of advantage to the guys that are running a little faster. Through that, it is a heads up class, so it's bar, no bar, 4-stroke, whatever, 2-stroke, triples, bring it out, run what you brung class. And that's always a fun one to watch. There's always a lot of big boys. There's usually some underdogs in there too. They're fun to cheer on, and they always keep the big boys true. You got to go out passes on those bikes.
I saw some videos of Tessa on Doug and Eric Wells's triple. Was she riding that in the quick 8, or was that some test passes for a different class?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, but you are correct. Yes, Tessa did throw a leg over the triple of Doug Wells. Now I believe that was her first time riding that.
Yeah.
I know they made all at A to B's. Not sure what the ETs were on that, but that's definitely going to be an up and comer to keep an eye.
I think I saw one of the passes that she ran. Don't know if it was her quickest on it or how many passes she made, but it was like a 340, which there's room left in it on that bike. But that's certainly her quickest pass, I think, on any bike. So big gains there for Tessa. And I know that Doug is still tinkering with that bike. He wants to see some low teens and maybe some O's out of that as they continue to tinker with it.
Well, it certainly got the potential for it. I know they took it back to Louisiana or got into the 30s down there with Eric riding it, so with Tess on there, some weight loss to it as well. And obviously there's more in it. Got to, as usual, get everything tuned, get everything working together the right time, right track, good shift points, all that stuff. It'll have no doubt it'll go 20s or if not teens.
Yeah. Then getting into some more bracket racing. So you guys ran a Pro 1 class on Saturday. So different than the Pro 1 class that you guys ran on Thursday. And this one, we saw Eric Wells take the win over Callista Summerlin. So kind of interesting there. We saw they were first and second in Pro 2 on Thursday, and now they're first and second on the Saturday Pro 1 class.
Yeah, that's right. It just shows you, we got a lot of people run a lot of classes here. There's a lot of people that are treated everything as a test and tune. They're wanting to go fast, so they're going to enter, lower CC and upper CC classes and pro classes, where they might not see that at some of the bigger races with larger bike turnouts. But people jump in them and, trying to go faster out here.
For sure. And then you guys ran a youth class on Saturday. Now, I'm not sure if there was another youth class that we don't have results for, but we do have this for the Saturday youth. And we saw Aubrey Pena. So the Pena's making a big trip up there. I saw them out in droves. Aubrey, the only one taking home some hardware, though, this time. And she does that over McCoy Eichmann. Is that how I pronounce it?
I believe so. Yeah, the Penas, they got such a great program. I just love watching them. They got a lot going on. With Jaime out there, he's the line guy, and you got Mama there cooling down carts and putting water in kids and bikes, and they've got quite the program. They're tracking all their slips, and they run really well and really clean bikes. And those kids are super polite. So are the parents. They're just always a pleasure to have around. It really is.
And actually, I would be remiss to mention this. We did have a result for another sport class that was run. We don't know which day it was run. We were trying to piece that together. And we don't have second place for it. But we did see that Dominic Pena getting some hardware there. First place in that other sport class. Not sure which day it was. So we did see two of the Pena clan getting some wins out there. So cool to see.
Yeah, they're all tough competitors and well-oiled machine out there.
Definitely. Well, that's going to do it there for all the results from the 2024 Pacific Northwest Shootout. We will definitely let you guys know when the next one's going to be. I'm sure they're going to be already starting to talk about that and hopefully getting this back on track to earlier, in July, so that weather's a little bit better and away from other events and stuff. And we'll let you guys know when those dates are coming out and stuff, and definitely try to hype it up and get you guys some coverage out there for the 2025 Pacific Northwest Shootout. Thank you very much, Brad, for joining us and giving us the lay of the land, and we'll talk at you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Hey everyone, this week's podcast sponsored by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt is ready to put their over 30 years worth of off-road experience to work for you. From turnkey builds to rolling chassis to an awesome selection of parts, the Racing in the Dirt staff has got you covered. Brake kits, aluminum hub kits, enclosed chain drives and kits, drive shaft loops, and even DIY wheelie bar kits, all available. So let Scott, Shane, and the crew at Racing in the Dirt get you the competitive edge you need. Give them a call at area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. Or find them on Facebook or even racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com and the UPS Daily.